All right, we will get started. For those of you that are at Keller Williams, Silicon City, and also Santa Clara Valley, I did teach this class. I did change the title. This was about building teams. I hope it's okay. It's a bit of a review. I did learn some new lessons since the last time I taught this class. So for you, some of you, we do have some agents that are either didn't make the training or are from other brokerages that are joining as well. I want to make sure that this is relevant for them. But let's get started as we're hitting the 105 mark here. I'm sure there will be more people coming in. Well, first of all, hello everybody. My name is Alan Wang. Really excited to talk to you about my topic. One of my favorite topics is what does it take to become a millionaire real estate agent? And that's something that is really fascinating for most people. Is wow, yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a millionaire in general, and who wouldn't want to be a millionaire in the business that they're in, which is real estate. I'm gonna go next slide here. A little quick introduction. Those of you that don't know me, I've been in the real estate business for 17 years. I run a team of 9. Last year we ranked top 100 in the United States, which was an honor. In 2018, we helped 105 families with their real estate transactions up to a volume of 113 million. Last year we were at 71 families that we helped up to 77 million. And so our team does really enjoy, we enjoy what we do. We like to be a big part of our clients. Let's start off with where the inspiration for this class comes from. First and foremost is this red book. I left it in the office, so I had to put a copy here on the PowerPoint presentation here. But the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is written by our company's founder, Gary Keller. When I first received this book, it was handed to me, I thought, well, that's cute. What a cute title. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That's really nice, but that's probably not going to be me. And that was a limiting belief that I had when I received this book. Many years later, after going full time in this business for the last 7 years, I will tell you this is not a myth. It is not some cute title. It is completely doable. I've been traveling all around the world, or the country specifically, and I've met all different kinds of Keller Williams agents. And let me tell you, when they meet us, and the first question that because we sit in the room, we're all peers, which means we all do a good amount of production. The question they always ask us is, what is the median or average price of homes in your area? And then I look down, I go, the average price in our area is 1.2 million. And their jaws drop, and then they basically say, you're so lucky. And let me tell you what that means. Is because I've met an agent out in Florida who was in the same tier of agent group that I was in, and he had to sell 500 homes before he could achieve this goal. And again, we're talking about 500 homes at $150,000, right? That's their median average price in the area that he was in, which is why he had to sell 500. Now for us, I was just crunching the numbers. At 1.2 million, 2.5% commission. If you sell 21 of these, you've hit this number. So it's not, in our area, is completely doable. And when you meet agents from other areas, they look at us and they just shake our heads because we're so spoiled out here. We don't realize how blessed we are to have such a high price point. With an average price of 1.2 million, you can get to this number pretty quickly. And so just be happy, enjoy where you live in, and that you're blessed. And I think sometimes the commission dollars make us a little bit lazy. Imagine an agent, 500 homes that he or she has to sell. Imagine how much work, what kind of systems they have, what kind of leverage they use, how efficient they are with their time and their team to get to 500 units. And sometimes we have just a few listings and our heads are about to explode. Well, these people are doing it across the nation, and they're improving the model. And at Keller Williams, we're the ones that started the team model, which is what we're going to talk about there next. The beauty of this book is that we get to learn from those that came before us. And that's what I love about this book. And it didn't only talk about Keller Williams agents. It interviewed many agents across the nation and figured out, oh, there's actually a common pattern, a common theme that we can all leverage and learn. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Unfortunately, I don't have a magic pill for you to take that suddenly makes you a millionaire real estate agent. As what I've learned, everything in my life, everything is done step by step. There's nothing easy, nothing free, which leads me to my next slide. I did want to talk to, for some of you who are newer in the business, I'm going to talk to you about the top 5 myths of being a real estate agent. The first one is, first and foremost, everyone thinks easy money, especially in our area. In our Silicon Valley, at $1.2 million, 2.5% commission, I mean, you're going, oh yeah, this is easy money. I don't need to work that hard. I just got to sell a few houses and I'm good. Yeah, well, that's true. It depends on what your goals are. If you feel that's the bar you want to set for yourself, I would challenge you to set the bar higher. You know, why not challenge yourself to be a millionaire real estate agent, especially when you live in an area that is completely tailored towards you for a really good price point. Obviously, competition is high as well. But I want to address this first myth of easy money. Trust me, I've known people that think that always want easy money. Everyone who doesn't, right? I mean, everyone that I've met that try to pursue easy money, it has never ended well. And just because there's really no such thing. If you could just fill in a few bubbles and win the lottery, I mean, yeah, we would love, but we all know that doesn't really happen. We have to be extremely lucky. So I'll tell you, there's no such thing as easy money. Real estate is not an easy business at all. There's no easy money. It's certainly easier, I mean, I would say, than some other jobs out there. You can sell, you can go work at corporate America, and there'll be a ceiling as to how much you make. No ceiling here. So that in a way it is easy, but I'll tell you there's no such thing as easy money. You have to work hard. The next one is, oh, it's an easy job. Really easy job. You guys don't do much. You guys just write up a contract and bam, you get your 2.5%. If that's your perception of real estate, it's completely wrong. It's not the case at all. It is an extremely difficult job. There are many things that can go wrong. It is your job to keep things together. You deal with a lot of people. You deal with a lot of emotions. You deal with a lot of legalities, a lot of stress, a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends. It's not an easy job whatsoever. I want to make that very clear. If there was such a thing as easy money, easy job, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be doing it. And succeeding at it. I mean, we're a lot of people that have the real estate license, but there's not a lot of people doing well in it. There's a statistic that 90% of the business in our area are done by 10% of the agents. So think about that. 90% of the business is done by 10% of the agents. It's not easy money, easy job at all, where you got a lot of competition. The ones that are really good, and they're running away with your business. So, something to think about there. Flexible schedule. Absolutely. Flexible schedule is part of it, but I say kind of. And I say kind of for a reason. Because yes, absolutely, there is some flexibility. You don't have to clock into the office right at 9 o'clock or 8:30 or 10. You can take your kids to school. You can come in a little later. Some people don't even go to the office. That's pretty much everyone right now. In shelter in place. You have flexibility, yes. You can pick up your kids from school. All that is great. The reason I say flexible schedule is kind of a plus is, one, if you start getting busy, you won't have a flexible schedule anymore. When you start getting more customers, you're getting busy. Trust me, every hour of your day is going to be full. Of course, you can pick up your kids and take them to school. That's not an issue, but get ready to be working into the nights and get ready for your weekends to all be gone, right? If you're starting to get busy. That's why I say it's flexible, but kind of. It's flexible within the day, but it can certainly really, really consume you. And that's why I say be cautious of the flexible schedule. You'll have a flexible schedule if you don't do much business. Absolutely true. It depends on what kind of bar you want to set for yourself. It's always tough, right? You love, I only want to do X amount of deals a year, but real estate doesn't work that way. If you say I only want to do X amount a year, you might get less. So you actually always have to pursue more so you can have more in the pipeline. And that might go over your limit that you set for yourself. So it's really hard to balance. And also, for those of you that aren't very disciplined, a flexible schedule could be a disaster. If some of you need that schedule to set coming into the office 9 to 5. I leave you at home, you got that flexible schedule, suddenly you're watching Netflix all day long, you're not getting anything done, and then Days of Our Lives comes on, and then you're just sitting there and then you're eating snacks, and then you're not doing anything business related. Right? So the flexible schedule can be a curse for a lot of you who can't manage schedules properly. This is my favorite one. When I meet new agents, they go, I love looking at open houses. That's why I want to get into real estate. Well, if it were only that simple, I think it's good that you like to look at houses. Looking at houses is definitely part of our business, and hopefully you enjoy that part of it. Unfortunately, it's not the only part of your business. There is so much more that goes into real estate beyond just the open houses. It's something I want you to keep in mind. Yes, looking at houses is great. Oh, I love watching House Hunters and Property Brothers. That's why I want to get in real estate. It's good that you love your product. I'm going to tell you in a bit, there's a lot more to being in the real estate business than just that. And the last one is, all of my friends will use me. But that's always great. It's something that you think might happen. And I think a lot of your friends will use you. I will tell you a lot of them won't. And there's different reasons. I have a couple of friends that I thought we were really, really good friends. They didn't use me. It was earlier in my career. I was a little hurt about it, but you can't blame these people, because if you're brand new, they shouldn't just have to use you just because their friend, or the biggest sale, biggest purchase of their life, they're going to want somebody who knows what they're doing. And the other one is some people don't want their friends to know about their finances, or they don't want their friends to, they're a little competitive and they don't want to use you. But don't take things personally. It is what it is. I will tell you the majority of your friends will use you. And so take solace in that, but don't be upset if they don't, especially when you're starting out. Well, let's talk about the 5 joys of being an agent. This is a wonderful business, minus all the myths I just told you about. First and foremost, if you're a people person, being able to help people with the largest transaction of their lives that they don't do very often. And this is one thing to say, oh, I know how to change an air filter at my house. That's fine. You do that every 1 or 2 months. You can learn it as an engineer. Fine, pick it up. If you only buy or sell a house every 7 to 10 years, I promise you, you as a buyer or seller are not going to be well versed in this. That's why you hire an agent like us. Just like accounting, you only do it once a year. You're not keeping up with everything. So you hire an accountant to do your taxes because it's complex. It's not simple. It's the largest transaction. But I enjoy this part of it because we get to help people with a very complicated transaction. And it has a big impact on their families. And being able to make that impact is huge. I hope that is something that gets everyone up in the morning. I mentioned people business. For those of you that love people, this is the business for you because it is all about people, 100% about people. If you don't like people, you should really think about finding another line of work. I had met an agent who said, I don't know if real estate's for me. I don't really like dealing with people that much. I said, well, you're probably in the wrong business, right? It is completely a people business. And if you enjoy helping people and families find with the biggest transaction of their lives, this is the right business for you. It's a blessing every day that I consider a blessing. There's also something different every day. There's a component of real estate that's Groundhog Day, the same process and procedures, but there are, especially now in shelter in place, I don't know about you, but I've been on so many calls just trying to make sense of all the different changing rules around the country, the state, the county level, who's essential, who's not essential, how do we operate, how do we prevent liability, do we go on the market, do we not go on the market, do we show the house, if we do, how do we show the house? And this is just shelter in place. There's always something different. There's often not a smooth deal. There's something that goes wrong. You have to figure out how to balance that. And that's a challenge. It's fun. I think it's fun. I know that, of course, all of us would like smooth deals, but it challenges you. It makes you work your brain. How do I fix this problem that my seller's having? How do I deal with this lender issue my buyer is having? I have an appraisal that came low. Did I prepare them well enough? If I did, great. If I didn't, how do I fix it? How do I help my buyer fix that problem or help the seller navigate a renegotiation? There's always something different. There's always something to learn, a way to grow. Of course, the top 5, one of the joys is being your own boss. Many of you have worked in corporate America before. If you have a great boss, life is great. But oftentimes you don't have the greatest boss in the world. Or you have a great boss and they leave. And then you come up and there's an awful boss the next day. You don't have to worry about that. You are your own boss. You get to define what needs to be done. You set the vision. There's no politics. No one to hold you down. No ceiling. The only person in your way is yourself. It could be a blessing or a curse. And lastly, I would say financial security. But I'll say in parentheses, once things are established. In the beginning, it tends to be a bit of when you're starting out, there's a runway, right? You got to learn, a lot of things to learn. There's a hockey stick of things to learn, knowledge, experience. Once you get past that phase, then everything gets easier. Okay, I'm going to jump right in on the Millionaire Real Estate model is on page 202 of your Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Now, this picture here sums it all up, and I love this picture. It basically talks about the 7 levels of agent in order to achieve what you want to get to. Most agents start out as a single solo agent all by themselves, and then the ultimate goal, and I don't think a lot of agents have these goals. Some of them continue operating this way, but the goal is to actually build a business where you can step off. You're the CEO. You're the founder. You have somebody else running your team. Actually, you're the owner. You have to hire your own CEO to run your business for you. And that's the ultimate vision that you should have for yourself. To build a business that you can hand off, move on from, not just be stuck selling homes. I know agents that are in their 70s and they're still hustling every day and selling. And the reason they do that is because they never built a model. They never built a team. They never built something to hand it over. Their kids don't want it because they don't want to work this hard as we do. And so then it just dies. They maybe sell their book of business off to some other agent in the office and then they don't get any residual revenue from it. Think bigger. right? How do we build a 7-level real estate business? Something that can be sold, something that can be handed off to someone else who may not be family. Think big, right? As you're building out your teams. Let's start with level 1. Most of you, some of you are still in this pool, but we all start out as what I call the solo agent. And that's all where we all start. I want to address the first item, which is part-time versus full-time. When I started, I was part-time for many, many years, and then I eventually shifted full-time. I will say you have to be careful of this. I've met a lot of agents. There's pros and cons. The agents, of course, if you are self-motivated and you can multitask, your full-time job is not too demanding, there's some flexibility, you can probably balance a part-time career in real estate just to get started. But if you really, really want to do this, going full-time really makes the most sense. But then there are some cons on that one where if you are full-time, then especially if you're brand new, that beginning, you may not have a lot of paychecks coming in. So the ideal situation is if you look within yourself and you know what, I'm a very self-motivated human being. My job is not too strenuous. I'm going to go part-time. My goal is to build up my real estate business part-time so I can eventually leave my full-time job. That's probably the smartest way to do it. I will tell you that a lot of agents I've seen do not have what it takes to do this. Either their jobs are too demanding, or they're not self-motivated enough to do both jobs at one time. So then you're going to fail at both. I can do a good job at either. So you got to look deeper within yourself. If you're that person, then you can do it part-time, but with the goal to eventually shift over once things get good. And I was actually part-time for quite a long time, about 11 years. And the reason for that was it always trailed my corporate job salary. And again, I didn't really put too much effort into it. So I always look back and go, what if I poured more effort? Would that business have exploded earlier? Heavily possible, but hindsight's 2020. I would say I'm that rare breed of people who can actually do this. So look within your heart and just say, am I that motivated person? Then maybe I could do it part-time. If I'm not, then maybe I should just go full-time and just get that feeling of no paycheck, and that's going to burn a fire under me to go get some business. You have to figure out what the best way is. I've seen both work. The full-time one tends to work a little bit better. That's what I've noticed. Just that singular focus. When you're a solo agent, you're doing everything, absolutely everything. You're the lead generator. You're the head of marketing. You're the head of accounting. You're the transaction coordinator. You're the signing person. You're the event planner. You're the business planning strategy person, and you're also IT support. You're absolutely everything. Now, the pros on that is good. I mean, as a solo agent, you're your own boss. You don't need to take orders from anybody. You have complete freedom. You learn the business inside out. This is a great part of being solo, is you learn the business cover to cover. Every little detail you know how to do. I think this is really important. It's just like running any business. In order for you to tell and train someone else how to do it, you need to know the business inside out. There's no headaches, I guess, it depends on your relationship with yourself, I suppose, but you just got to manage you. And hopefully you have a good relationship with yourself. There's no headache of any other person to deal with but yourself. And of course, you retain your commission. You don't have to split. You don't have to pay administrators. You don't have to pay a TC. You don't have to split with the buyer's agent. You get very high margins. So being a solo agent is actually quite good. Obviously, there are cons. Like I mentioned this, your own boss. You got to find your own motivation. You have to lead yourself. If you don't, hopefully you have that in you to keep yourself going. There's a slower learning curve because you're doing absolutely everything. So you can't focus. You're just kind of thrown in the fire and you're just trying to learn everything. This is a big problem, is real estate's a lonely business. It really is. And being a solo agent, it gets even lonelier. And sometimes you find it tough to go on by yourself, to motivate, to keep going. And that's why you guys are all in this training, right? We're all learning from each other. We're feeding off each other's energy. You're taking best practices from others. I think that gives us fuel, right? It gives us lessons and teaches us to go on. If you're just sitting at home by yourself, very difficult, hard to do. Vacations are tough. When I was solo for 11 years, I only had one vacation I remember that I didn't have any real estate to worry about. Now, my worst memory was being at an internet cafe in Rome when my family was walking around looking at the sites. I was dealing with this client who we were one day late and she was just freaking out and she had everything scheduled and moved, and I had an agent who was helping me, but he didn't really care. And so it was just I'm in an internet cafe trying to deal with that. And if you had someone else on your team, you wouldn't have to worry about that. You could actually enjoy a vacation for once, which we rarely get days off. And as a solo agent, you're going to hit a ceiling. Every agent has a limit to how much energy you have, how much time you have. We're finite. We're not androids, right? We need to sleep. There's certain hours of the day, certain energy levels, only certain amount of things we can do. We will hit a ceiling. I'm going to move on. My story, I started part-time and then 8 to 12 deals, which I managed well. And then eventually I did everything and I realized that I couldn't anymore. Really quickly, if you would kindly whip out your calculators. I want you to whip out your gross commission income from last year. Give you a few seconds to whip out your calculator. I want to take your GCI and I want you to divide it by 2,080. And this is basically assuming a 40-hour work week, 8 hours a day for every day of the year. Okay. Now, what's that? Take a look at that number. Perfect. So that number is your value per hour. Okay, that's how much you're worth per hour. Now, I want you to look at that number carefully. For those of you that produce, I'm willing to bet that it's more than 15, more than 20, more than 25, most likely. I'm willing to bet that. And that's a really, really important question for you, because I'll be talking a little bit about that, but you need to know your worth per hour. As a new agent, I would say, if you're asking me the question, well, what do I do, Alan? What if I'm a new agent and I'm struggling? I would say find a mentor or join productivity coaching in your office and get somebody to help guide you, show you what you're not doing right, especially somebody that's been down the path you've been before. Have them help you and guide you. Obviously, go to trainings like you are right now, which is always helpful. Trial by fire, you can always be like me. I mean, when I was in my career, I didn't have anybody. I learned everything. I made so many mistakes. And I just learned by fire. That's another way. It may not do. You may not have an option, but the more trainings you go to, the more you lean on your mentor or your productivity coach, you're going to find that it's going to prevent you from making some lessons, learning these tough lessons. New agents have a long-term perspective. It's going to take some time to get running, but once you get running, it's going to get easier and easier as you go. It's very hard in the beginning. That's just the way it is. It was hard on me. I still remember my first 5 deals. They were awful. My gosh, it was so hard. I was on the phone with my managing broker every day. Oh my gosh, how do I do this? How do I do that? They didn't have a mentor program, didn't have productivity coaching. Very difficult, but you'll get through it. Another one is if you're as new as you go, well, I don't think I can do this on my own. Yeah, explore joining a team, right? See what you can do, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But the big question is leverage, and we'll talk about that in different steps. But Keller Williams uses a big word, which is called leverage. And I don't love that word because sometimes it reminds me, am I just taking advantage of people? No, that's not what this word means. Leverage means basically leveraging your time and making sure your time is focused on the key tasks, the one that you're good at, and secondly, the tasks that generate revenue for your business. If there are other tasks, then perhaps you can outsource. I'll talk about that shortly. I want to talk about partners quickly before I move on to the next leverage section. Partnering means I want to sign someone up and we'll go down this journey together. It's a good idea, and there are a lot of pros. Together we are giant, of course, right? Buster Posey in the back over here. Together we're giant. At least two should be better than one. Secondly, it solves the loneliness problem, right? When you have somebody you can brainstorm with, you get the energy, you're both in this together, the energy, the synergies could be awesome. I met some people who, they're really good agents, but the other one's really good at tech. And so then the one's building the tech, the other one's meeting the clients. That's pretty good synergy, right? Or one's really good at transaction coordinating and paperwork or operations and systems, the other one's better with the clients. One's better at listings, one's better at buyers. Right? Now, whatever that is, if there's the word synergy means it fits together nicely. You fit together really well. You work together well. It makes sense. One has a skill, the other one doesn't. You can share the load, like I said. You can actually go on vacation if you need to. And then there's a backup for you. Right? So you complement those skill sets. There are also cons to picking partners. You have to pick the right partner. You have to ask, do we have the same goals and work ethic? This is what I've noticed is usually makes partnerships fail. There's one person that has super drive, and there's another one who just too relaxed, too chill. Just, I'm good with my 1 or 2 a year. And the other one goes, no, we need to do 10 this year. That's what I've noticed. Usually there's a clash. So then it becomes a lot of resentment if you don't look into this carefully. The big question is, what do you both bring to the table? If you're both good with buyers, then who's doing operations? Who's getting systems up? Or who's doing the listing side? Right? Or if one person is only good at systems and the other one's good with listings, well, who's doing the buyers? Right? The other one hates buyers. I mean, you got to figure out what the synergies are. You just got to, what does everyone bring to the table? Why should we work together? There's got to be a reason, right? Not just because I'm lonely and I want to get someone on this journey together. There has to be synergies. And then it's hard to have this conversation. I mean, you don't want to talk about a divorce settlement before the divorce happens, but what happens if one person produces more than the other? I promise you, it's gonna happen. You're splitting half, right? That's what partners do. But then one person's barely doing 20% work, right? One person's going on vacation for 80% of the year. No, then why is that person making 50-50? You should have those conversations somehow. And if there's a way to measure those, measure it and make it fair, meaning, hey, after 1 year, we can reevaluate how many do we close, what's the trend. You can decide if that's equitable, if that's fair to you or not. This is what I've noticed kills most partnerships is one person's doing more than the other and they feel gypped because why am I paying this person so much if I'm doing the work and they're getting the half? Happens a lot. All right. I do want to move on to about when is that sweet spot for you to start making your first hire. First of all, you got to be consistently performing and growing. So your numbers are year over year increasing and consistent. Just because you had one good year, let's say in 2018, we all had great years, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. It does not mean that you have a sustainable business. So you might want to repeat this another year or two, make sure that you're getting that consistent business. If you notice that you're spending a lot of your time on just tasks that are preventing you from lead generating, because most realtors are really good with it, then that's a time to take a step and think, is this time for me to hire an assistant? And then remember I talked to you about the cost per hour. There's tasks that can be done for lower than your cost to do them. Right? If you're $150 an hour, then why are you nailing down signposts? Why are you doing your own transaction coordinating? Why are you putting out open house signs? And things you have to really think about, because every time you spend on doing these things, you are not spending your time doing what you need to be doing, which is getting that business, which is the most revenue generating activity you can be doing. And also there's things that you aren't good at, right? And not everyone's good at everything. Most agents I've found are terrible at transaction coordinating, unless you're an S&C on the disc profile. Most of you are awful at it. So why stress about it and spend hours doing it? Just have someone else do it and let them take care of that for you. Above all, you must lead with revenue. If you, or profit, I mean, forget revenue, let's don't talk profit. That's something that agents don't think about because we're really bad at managing expenses. If you're not making profit, then maybe you should take a step back and not take on more expenses until you make sure that you're making some profit in your business. That's really important. All right, well, let's say you're doing well, and I think your first hire should be a transaction coordinator. That should be your first hire as a second level team. Your transaction coordinator just handles the paperwork. It's a simple hire. I think it's really, really simple hire. I love transaction coordination for that. Make that your absolute first hire because, I mean, I don't know about you, I'm pretty good at doing paperwork, but each file takes me 2 hours maybe, even with my system, 2 to 3 hours. Uploading everything, checking things off, chasing down signatures. It's not a lot of fun. I mean, it can take quite a bit of time. You calculate your time per hour. Is it really worth it for you? My broker, one of my first brokers kind of fed incorrect information to me and said, well, Alan, that $350, it really adds up per deal. He was thinking too small. Actually, what he should have told me was, Alan, that $300 you're spending or $500 you're spending on transaction coordinating will free you up to go get more business. Much more business than you're saving on this 300. That's what he missed. And that's absolutely true. So if we can save you 3 or 4 hours of time, it's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And also, it's not fun. So, let someone else do it. The other item is that it's a variable cost. What's a variable cost? Variable costs are costs that are you basically accrue only when you make a sale. These are the best costs ever. It's very low risk. You don't have to hire a TC and be afraid that you have to lay them off full time. Just pay them per deal, and you don't have to worry about it. For example, right now with SIP going on and everything going down, the last thing I want to have is a transaction coordinator I'm paying salary to that I'm worried about. Do I have to lay this person off because there's not that much work to do right now? That's awful. I have a coordinator who's basically a 1099 person, and I will pay that person when I actually close something. I love the flexibility of a transaction coordinator that's not on my books. That's a contractor. And as I said, you agents are horrible at it anyways. So first thing I would say is hire that transaction coordinator. It's the best hire that I ever made. Just do it, get it done. And trust me, I've seen some of you who don't use transaction coordinators. You drive our MCA crazy because last minute, I want my paycheck. Well, you haven't submitted your file yet. You're not getting your paycheck. I mean, that's just the rule. Right? As brokers, we have to protect the office, and If you're paying you, you're never going to get it done. Right? You guys are terrible at it. Right? We don't know who's on the sky slope. We don't know where the contract is. We don't see anything. And if we don't hold your paycheck, you'll never get it done. Right? Have an expert do it for you so you can get paid on time. All right, moving on to the MREA model level 3. This is where it gets more interesting. You are going to be looking at hiring at least a couple of assistants. But I want to make a quick note. Congratulations, or not, you are now a business owner. Whether you like it or not, you are now a business owner. And the reason I say this is because now you're managing people. So now you're no longer just a solo agent that's a rock star at what you do, at selling houses. You are now a business owner. There's pros and cons, right? There are pros and cons of being a business owner. Well, the first thing is great agents are often not business owners or managers. I find a lot of agents, we are really good with clients. We're really good with people. We're really good with buyers. We're really good with sellers. But we tend to be very awful at business. And that's what I've noticed with a lot of us agents out there. And hopefully we can raise the bar in our office on this level. But first question I have for you is your shop in order? Before you hire your first assistant, I'm not talking about the transaction coordinator, I'm talking about your marketing and office assistant. Have you got your shop in order? Where's this person gonna sit? Is it all virtual? Or are you actually gonna get an office now, right? With more office comes a little bit more expense. Technology, is your technology scaled or is it all under your own name? Right? How are you going to scale this so that you need to buy more licenses? You need to invest in Zoom? You need to, all these different technologies that you need to now somehow bring the assistant on board to protect. How about security? What happens if this assistant leaves? Are you going to change all the passwords? Or did you put it under that assistant's name and then now it's all a mess because that person's gone now? Because they use some Gmail account that you can't get into. And now your most critical system is stuck under their name. Right? Think about these things, right? How do you scale your platform? I would suggest you use your email as your primary across all systems. And you use a singular password that only you and your assistant know. And that you can change when they leave. Simple as that. Email also. Do you have an email system that you can administer? Right? Things like that. Payroll's fun. I'm trying to figure that out with ADP or Quicken or QuickBooks. Right? Getting that set up is always fun. But you got to get that up and running for yourself first, and then your assistant if this is a full-time employee. Insurance. Well, suddenly you need workman's comp, right? You got to buy insurance. You got to insure. What if somebody gets hurt, falls while they're doing something for you? Better be insured, or they can take you to town. I suggest you increase your umbrella insurance to a very good amount to cover your personal home, your house, and on top of that, the workman's comp and everything else that's required for having somebody on payroll. Are you incorporated, or is this all personal liability? Right? A corporation shields you from liability. Right? You should probably get that set up. Once you get into a certain level, talk to your CPA. You should probably be incorporated anyways. That's something to consider. Profit and loss. Now you're running a business. It's not just so simple. Oh, I'm getting a Schedule C. I got my income, and I'm writing off all the expenses I could think about, and buying my iPads for the end of the year. And then this is my this is my income. It's not that simple anymore. You now have a business. You need to start looking at your profit and loss. What is my revenue? What is my expenses? What is my profit, most importantly? And how does that assistant fit in? Because if you're not profitable, why bother? If you're not making money, why bother? Honestly, I mean, I know some of us just sell houses because we sell houses, but if you're just buying cars to offset expense, I mean, you're not putting any money away for your family or reinvesting in your business. Right? That's not the goal of real estate, to just enjoy life. At some point, you can't buy any more things you can justify for business. Let me tell you. So really start managing a real business where there's profit, there's income, expense, and you're managing the profit. And figure out how much profit do I want to take home? How much profit do I want to take home? Process and procedures. A lot of you solos say, oh yeah, I have all the process and procedures, but they're all in your head. Where are they? Are they documented? No, usually not. You've done it over years and years, all in your head. Well, that's not going to help your assistant to help you streamline. You got to get those in writing. Force your assistant, because he or she are probably better at this than you are, to extract those things out of your head and put them into an executable system, right? Almost like the Matrix. Plug it in, and if it were only that simple, right? But your assistant needs to download that out of your head. Training. Are you ready to spend the time training them? That's a very important thing. I didn't always have the time to do that. It was really trial by fire. But if you don't spend the time training them, they're not going to learn, and they're never going to do it the way you want. That's something you have to take on yourself. And then you also have to coach. You got to coach you got to coach these folks. Right? They don't come in magically being the way you are, or the way you want them to work. But you're a startup now. You're an entrepreneur. And Reid Hoffman, I love this guy. He's a really good guy. Founder of LinkedIn. He's on Greylock. He's not chairman anymore, but he's at Greylock. Great person. An entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff, builds a plane on his way down. That's really what it's going to feel like. So don't feel bad if you feel like things are not in order in your shop. But just bear in mind, you're going to be a startup now. Those of you that see all your friends in startups, well, you're running your own now. And this is the fun part. All right, let's talk about that marketing administrative assistant. This is the most important hire you will ever make. Let's say that one more time. The most important hire you will ever make. This person offloads you so that you can do more revenue generating activities. They should be handling marketing, prepping your listing presentations, scheduling inspection, paying your bills, running your CMAs, downloading disclosures, pretty much everything that you can think of in the back end, a good assistant should be able to do. Now, if you don't hire an admin or you don't hire one well, you become the admin. Right? Just remember that. You get sucked right back into those non-revenue generating activities that you should be focused on. This is a lesson I learned the hard way. Pay them well. Give them a salary, bonus, and maybe a little part of every transaction. Most administrative staff, they actually prefer security, which is why they don't want to do what you do generally. They want a secure paycheck. So you can definitely have the salary, a good salary, and then some bonus. And then a per deal transaction makes them basically part of the team, that they have something vested in every deal. That's the way I like to structure it. But just know that most admins they wouldn't like it if you paid 10% salary and 90% bonus. They don't like that uncertainty. They like the certainty usually. Is what I noticed with the administrative personality or the DISC profiles or the KPAs of most assistants. Now, bear in mind though, well, we'll talk in a bit. Keep hiring assistants though until you really need agent assistant. What I mean by this is try to hire assistants to help support you as much as possible before you start bringing on new agents. I'll give you an example. At Keller Williams family reunion this year, on stage there were 3 different people on stage, megas. There's one mega agent who I think she had 4 assistants, and she was a mega agent out of Beverly Hills. And I could tell she still had days where she slept under her desk, that she still worked a lot because she's the only agent on her team. But she's trying to stretch as much as possible because think about it, assistants are still lower cost than paying agents. So you want to bring on as many assistants as you can that make sense for your business before you bring on that agent. Because an agent, after a few splits on a few deals, that's the cost of an assistant. Right? So you really ideally want to tap out the assistant pool before you jump in. Basically, you've leveraged as much as you can on the system front to support your business. Then you can start bringing on agents. Here's some mistakes that are often made about hiring an assistant. Not establishing a 3-month probation period. Most realtors I've met are really good people, and they're good people because their customers love them. They care about their customers. They're really warm and giving people. Firing people is not something they enjoy doing at all, and they almost avoid it. If you have a 3-month probation period, then you don't have to feel bad. They have 3 months, you have 3 months. You know what? We're not fit. Let's just call it a day. Right? There's no awkward feeling to it. It's all written down in contract. Be careful of hiring that assistant who actually really just wants to be an agent, but they're just being an assistant. And so that's okay if you're okay with a short-term solution. I had a part-time assistant because I didn't want to hire a full-timer. I wanted to test it out. So I hired a part-time assistant, and that person really wanted to be an agent. So eventually it was okay. They helped me hire another one, and they shifted into being an agent. So that actually worked out really well on that front. So just heads up there, be aware of that. Ensuring a fit. I mean, really fit as in cultural fit with you, and then fit with the team. Really invest into the interview process. Don't just gloss over, ask them a few questions. Oh yeah, they sound nice. They seem like me. I'm just going to hire them. You actually don't necessarily want somebody just like you. Get references. Ask deep questions. Deep questions. If I were to go back, I would ask scenario questions. I would actually throw things at the admin and just make them something totally random and see if they can figure it out in that interview. It's something completely. You can always ask them, hey, what did you do in your last job? Oh, that sounds great. Oh, ask them questions. And they all say the right things in the interview. but actually handing them something that they've never learned and just seeing how witty are they? How tactful are they? Is this a person you're going to have to handhold anytime something new comes? Or can this person bang and figure it out or come up with a solution that wow, excellent. Because you got to be careful in the system. I'll tell you, there's two types of assistants. There's the ones that really just you can count on. You tell them, you know what, there's a new system here. I don't know how it works. Hand it to them, and they go figure it out, come back, and they give you recommendations. This is how we should use the system. These are the pros. These are the cons. This is what I've learned. This is how this and that. This is what I think we should do. Right? Those assistants are priceless. These are the ones that really free up your time. Right? You don't have to babysit them. You don't have to give them a task list. And then the second type, they're, again, good assistants, but they're task takers, right? Give me 1 to 20. I'm really good at banging out these 1 to 20. But if it's something new, then maybe a struggle. Right? You just got to figure out and just know who you're hiring. You're going to get what you pay for. I mean, based on the cost, probably. But I would say for your first admin, they should be of the ones that can figure things out, because you don't have time. That first admin really needs to help you take your business to the next level. They say that your first assistant should at least double your production, help you double your production at the least. And that's their ROI. That should be their ROI. But more importantly, they should be freeing up your time. If you have to go and handhold and dive into something, then basically that assistant's not really helping you to leverage your time to do what you need to be doing, which is high level thinking, figuring out how to get it. How do you get more? How do you apply for business programs, keep your business afloat? All these important things that need to get done. Sleep would be one too, right? That assistant can help you. That'd be ideal. Underpaying, again, I mentioned this, you get what you pay for. I've been talking to other megas, and at certain price points, you're not going to get a good assistant. So just be aware that you're going to have to probably pay up for this talent. And then investing the time to train them. If you don't invest the time to train them, then it's going to be a struggle. Other thing that we do at Keller Williams, if you just talk to Stacy, our market center administrator, she can get you the key personality assessment, where basically anyone that you're hiring can take this test and you can see if they're even a fit for this job. You don't want to be hiring somebody that comes in that's completely not a fit for the job, both from a profile perspective and personality perspective. So we have some tests, a KPA and a DISC profile, that we can give to your assistant to see if they're fit or not. And some people are not made to be assistants. They shouldn't be. They should be doing something else. And that's okay. We're not great assistants either, right? So just figure that out as you go. At the last Keller Williams family reunion we just went to, this quote will stay with me for a long time. I really, really like it. Your assistant's ceiling should be as high as yours. I'm going to read it again. Your assistant's ceiling should be as high as yours. Now I'm talking about your first assistant, your main assistant. Again, think about it, right? If your assistant doesn't have as high a ceiling as you, you're going to be really frustrated all the time, because things for you that come second nature is not coming second nature to them. So you're going to be frustrated all the time. And if they don't have as much runway as you do to grow, then you're always going to be backtracking and helping and diving in things that you shouldn't be spending your time on. So think about that, right? Look for an assistant that's similar caliber as you, right? Similar caliber, ability to learn or pick things up at the same wit level, quickness, etc. Some of the lessons I learned on this, hiring out of order. I hired a buyer's agent first, and I did start at lower splits because that agent was new, but I really should have leveraged the admin more. I think the admin probably could have helped me at least prepare things quicker for me, so that I could have been with clients a little bit more before I had to make this first hire. The point is, follow the model. The model is there for a reason, right? So if you're nervous about the whole assistant area, do what I did. I hired a part-time assistant first. But the mistake was they wanted to be an agent. So then eventually I had to hire another one. Just be careful of that dynamic. And then also the personality fit as well. Make sure they're a fit with you. They actually get you, understand you, and also that you get them. But obviously you're the rainmaker, so they should be adapting to you, not the other way around. So make sure that they can accommodate you and they understand you and help you. Otherwise, it'll be more of a headache than you want. If you're too busy to invest time, I said this, you'll be disappointed in results. I'm guilty. I've been there on that. Sometimes I just go figure it out on time for this, right? Then the project doesn't get done and it's my own fault, right? If I didn't help or train them properly on it. And I talked about the kind of admin you want to hire. You want to hire the one that that is self-sufficient, that can figure things out rather than the task taker type. Again, after your first key admin hire that's strong, that can build your operation, streamline everything for you, you can hire task takers. It's fine. That could be your assistant's assistants. That's okay. So your primary assistant cannot be a task taker. They need to be really proactive and running the shop and managing you. All right, 4th level team. You are now the rainmakers. This is when you're starting to bring on agents. And as you bring on agents, this is really critical. You're the rainmaker. There has to be a rainmaker. There has to be somebody in charge that brings in the business, and that's going to be you. Your first hire is going to be your buyer's agent. Your buyer's agent does everything you do for buyers. Open doors, show homes, analyze value, advise customers, analyze disclosures, schedule inspections, go to sign-offs, walkthrough, key handoff, manage crisis situations. This is what your buyers need to do. There are 2 models of buyer's agents. The first is full empowerment. This is when you go, just run. Here's the lead, go, close them. I don't want to be involved whatsoever. And the other one's more of the doctor model, I call it. The doctor model for me is when I have a client and it's an old-time client or it's a referral from a client, and I don't feel comfortable just having you run off with it as an agent on my team, because I still want to be a part of it. The doctor model makes it so that you don't have to spend all your time on every little mundane task. So the doctor model, at least the way I run it, you come in for the buyer's consultation, you come up with a strategy, you help them define it, you bring your agent along. I've discovered if you don't bring that agent along, then it feels like a handoff, that you're just punting them. If you come together, then they feel like you're together and you just tell them, hey, we're working on this as a team. Because remember, you as a rainmaker can't be everywhere at all times. So having somebody support, that's the only way you can do the level of production to get to a millionaire real estate agent. So you bring this buyer's agent with you and you go to the consultation, and then after that, you can decide how much you want to be involved. Some of the clients, I'll say, hey, just keep me CC'd on everything. And once in a while, I'll chime in. I just want to let them know that I'm monitoring everything. Or you just might show up at the sign-off or at the contract when you're teaching them and training them about contract at critical moments, and then the sign-off and the key handoff. So you have to pick those key moments in time that you want to be the doctor providing that expertise, and then your team runs with it the rest of the time. Ideally, full empowerment is the best scenario, but there are times when the doctor model makes sense. For buyer's agent, you can hit all different kinds of levels. You can have a brand new rookie, a mid-level, or senior agent. It doesn't really matter. It all works. As a new to mid-level agent, why would I join a team? Well, I mean, first thing is I said, well, why not? If you're a solo agent and you're killing it, then no, maybe you don't belong on a team at all. But if you're not killing it and you're struggling generating business, you should consider a team, right? Because usually the team has an overflow and a lot of support, overflow of customers and a lot of support. There's a huge learning curve. You can get over that by learning from the best. And also, it's not easy to lead generate and close business consistently. Consistency is the question. If you're trying to live, how do you consistently close business? The teams usually consistently close business. If you join them, you'll be safe. Paycheck, like I said, is steady. More, you don't have to spend the time setting up all the systems, managing a business, P&L, paying for marketing, paying for the office, paying for the fees, all this jazz that you don't want to worry about. You just want to sell real estate. Well, let the team leader do that. Let the rainmaker do that. And then you save a lot of expenses. Since your rainmaker is taking care of most of the expenses for all the systems, you don't have to worry about it at all. Your job in this role is to service the leads and close them. Simple as that. Now, why would I want to start a team? Well, once you start getting too busy to handle a buyer's business, buyers take a lot of time. Driving them around takes up a lot of time. And driving around, if you think about it, really is pretty low value for a rainmaker, right? I mean, your value comes in when they actually find the home. Driving around takes a lot of time. You could be lead generating, getting more business, working on listings. Right? Or for a lot of the rainmakers, just finding time to sleep or working out or having a weekend with your family once in a while would be nice. Right? So those are the reasons you might want to start a team, just to free up, share the revenue with others, get some free time back. But also, most importantly, as a team, you can do more. You can do more as a team. I told you a solo agent has a cap, a ceiling. A team does not. You guys leverage each other. You can do more as a team. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Everyone's asking, what are the economics? For a new agent, I've discovered it really depends. If you're a brand new agent, I know some people just give 50% off the bat. That's a pretty killer deal if you're a brand new agent to get 50% off the top. But I want to warn you, most teams that do that are making you call Zillow leads. or Redfin leads and trying to make you convert those leads. That's why they're paying you that much at this level of your career, because that's an awful job to do. Usually it's done that way, but there are new ideas coming out in the MREA 2 book, if it ever comes out, is they're actually going, well, why don't we pay rookie agents by the hour instead? If they're just going to open doors. Or what tasks are you going to graduate them up that ladder? Or if they're a brand new agent, I'm not putting you in front of our customers by yourself. You're not getting full empowerment. Right? I'm going to be with you on every step of the way. So then, which means I'm just training you along the way. So perhaps your only value is opening a door, right? And that's the case. As a new agent, you got to be okay with a lower split. I don't know what that is, 15, 25, 35. I've had it where I've had agents work up a tier if they're brand new. They close X amount, you'll get to this split. Close this amount, you get to this split. Close this amount, you get to this split. I like that because it really makes them earn their positions and not take it for granted. But as a new agent, you got to look at what you're signing up for. Yeah, the private team's giving you 50, but if you're going to be cold calling Zillow, Redfin leads versus someone who's just handing you something that's going to close for sure, you got to balance that. For mid-level and senior agents, what I detected is the 50-50 split eventually won't work for them. They bring in their own leads, they're going to leave because they don't want to split 50-50 if they're bringing in the business. So you can give them a different split and just give them 25% on top, where you're just taking the cherry on top to 25%, which is just extra revenue anyways. And they're happy to stay because they go, oh, that's fair. I still don't have to build a team or anything. If I happen to bring in the business, I don't mind basically paying out a 25% referral. I found that to be a pretty fair model with most. Now remember, as a rainmaker, get ready with your cash base. You got to pay agent fees, marketing, office rent, office equipment, payment for assistants, transaction coordinators, technology systems. And sometimes a rainmaker makes less than the team after all the expenses, to be honest with you. And especially right now in shelter in place where everything's almost frozen, the rainmaker has the most risk because we still have expenses to pay, whereas agents don't. And so think about that. There's a lot of risk to the rainmakers to running a business. This is, again, why you might want to join a team. Some lessons learned for hiring team members. The number one thing I would evaluate when you're hiring a team member that's an agent is, what is their work ethic? What is their desire? Do they got it in them? Do they have the drive? If they don't have the drive or the desire, they're the wrong fit. I don't care how smart they are. I don't care what kind of degree they have. I don't care how good looking they are. I don't care. If they don't have the work ethic or the desire, it's useless. They don't need to be on your team. Because you as a rainmaker, to get where you get, I'm willing to bet that you work really hard. And you work hard, and if they don't work hard, then they're not a fit. They need to go. I mean, I think they don't belong on the team if they're not willing to work as hard as you do. Again, your ceiling also for your team also needs to be as high as you. If they're not willing to work, then they don't have what I call hustle. I mean, hustle in a good way, working hard hustle. So they're not worth anything in salt. Hiring a superstar. This is a red flag. This is the Antonio Browns of the world. Everything looks good on paper. They run fast. They catch the ball. They seem really well versed. Good education, former tech job. This is something that I learned the hard way. They look good on paper, but this is a red flag. The reason is, if you hire someone that looks like they can potentially be a superstar, the question is, how long are they going to be with you? Are you okay with them being a free agent? You better be. They're not going to stay very long. If they're going to learn everything they can from you, they're going to leave. We see these folks all day, all night. They're not loyal. You spend a lot of time helping them, learning for them and growing them, and they leave. And because they're never happy. The superstars are always wanting something else. If you see that in their career where they're always jumping around, looking for the next thing, red flag, big red flag. Don't bring them on your team. It's unless you can figure out the next one, which is the big why. You might have a superstar that has a life situation right now that they don't want to be on their own. Maybe money's low. Maybe they need to be at home to care for a child. Maybe they have a sick parent at home, or I don't know, whatever the situation is, or they just like working with buyers. They don't like sellers. They do okay, but not enough to stay on their own. They want to hire an assistant, but they're not at that level where they can hire one. So they figure, you know what? Why don't I just leverage a team so I don't have to worry about that? Right? There's some people that their big why fits. Right? Their big why really, really fits your team. And look for those people. Right? There are certain people that are great talents, but they just don't want to lead gen. They don't have time for that. They got a family. They have young kids. They don't want to lead gen, but they're certainly really good at servicing business and closing business, which is really all you need on a team. So those are really nice fits. Or again, I like the agent that's tried to do this on their own and they have been struggling, or they don't want to invest in building all the systems. They know you've got the systems, so why not leverage? Or those that haven't been able to have a steady paycheck. Those are the right people to have on your team. And a big question to you is, are they worth the investment? Now, nobody's going to stay forever, and that is what it is, and it's okay. Ideally, you want them to stay at least a little bit of time. Right? Ideally, you want them to stay at least a few years. If you spend a whole year training them and they leave, they just took all your secret sauce and walked out the door. So what's the, that you just wasted your time on them. So make sure that they're worth investment. Also, for those of you that are thinking about joining teams, and actually, I'm going to take a step back. You rainmakers, when you meet these folks, especially the new agents, when they come to you, they're very humble. They don't know anything. They've never sold anything in their lives. Trust me, hand them some great business, 12 hot leads, and then suddenly they think they're rock stars and they're going to leave you. So gauge the personality, right? And it is what it is. You can't stop people from leaving. They're going to go where they want to go. But you have to judge a person's character. Are they the type that's going to appreciate it, or they're just going to eventually get a big head and go? And I tell you, there are a lot of big heads out there. So be aware of that. Ideally, you want loyal agents to stay with you for a very long time, but they will leave. But hopefully, you at least get a good 2 or 3, 4 years of production out of these people instead of them leaving within a year. Now, we all know this. Before I move on here, we're at the 1 hour mark. For those of you that have to go, feel free to go. I'm probably going to go for another 15 minutes, so just hang tight. You've seen this, the triple triangle, the listing, lease, leverage triangle in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Keller Williams deems listings as core to the business. Listings, when you get listings, you have leads. People call your signs. You're up there online. They'll call you because you're a listing agent. They'll try to double in with you sometimes if you do that. You can leverage these. You can hand these to your team so they can get more business. You can get more business. So listings are core to everything. And if you've been an agent who typically does a lot of buyers, which a lot of us are, buyers are the easiest type of business to get because they come right through the open house. Eventually, you need to shift your focus to getting more listings, because that way your team can leverage listings more and get more signage out there, more visibility, and just more customers. And that puts you in the level 5 team when you're trying to split up and get some of the listing agents on board. Now, what does the listing specialist do? Same thing as you did. Go on listing appointments, secure the listing, prep the house for sale, manage contract to vendors, process open houses, host them. Ideally, your co-listing agent hosts the open house, negotiate a contract, manage closing, sign off at title, hand off the keys, and then manage crises. This is what your listing agents should do. Now, what level of agents fit? Sorry, rookies, we're not putting you in a listing specialist role. Doing a listings takes expertise. Right? I would say mid-level and senior agents are better fit to be listing agents. You just haven't seen enough as a new agent. There are a lot of things that go wrong in a transaction, and sellers are really fickle. Listings aren't made for everyone. Listings are hard. Sellers are hard to manage. They always think their house is the best thing since sliced bread. They always think it's worth more than the comparable, and they love their homes. There's emotional attachment. They're very difficult to manage. You need experience to do that. So again, pricing, it's all about confidence. Sometimes when you're new, you don't have the confidence that you can deliver to the seller that you can sell the house for this price. You're managing a lot of emotion, right? More than buyers. I find buyers, you can control it. You generally know when you go in if you're going to win or lose. You know what kind of offer you're putting out. You can control the outcome. If you know it's competitive, you pretty much know where it's going to land. Just are they willing to do it or not? And you can control that. On the sell side, you can't. So since us agents are so nice folks, we don't want to ever let down our clients. That's why selling's hard. But think about right now in shelter in place. If you have a seller that really needs to sell, they're going to blame you. Well, why can't you sell my house? Well, he'll shelter in place. Well, no, I don't care. Why can't you sell my house? You said you were good. Why can't you do it? And for those of us that really don't like letting our clients down, which I think that's a lot of us, it's a hard place to be, right? It's tough. You're not going to win them all. But you have to have that thick skin to deal with the listing. On my team, I actually do it a little bit differently because I'm not quite there yet where I need to split off buyers and sellers agents. I have two-way players. And right now, my agents can actually do buyers or sellers. They're all senior enough to do it. Eventually, when we have a ton of listings, perhaps I will dedicate a listing specialist. But for now, I just have them do both sides. That's what I'm doing. By the way, Klay Thompson is scheduled to be back very soon, even though we don't have a season. But the two-way players, if you look on the right, is James Harden, who we all know is not a two-way player. He's a very good offensive player, but not a good defensive player at all. But you want Klay Thompsons. Those are Klay Thompsons that can play both sides of the floor. In my model, that's what I have right now. As we migrate to the next levels of being a millionaire real estate agent, you really want to push yourself to be a CEO where you're kind of getting out of everything. You're not showing houses much anymore. You're not going to listing appointments. You're a CEO. You're a 6-level team you're running. You got your listing specialists, your buyer's agents. They might have assistant agents that are helping them, a pipeline full of them, and your system is running. And that's where you want to get to. Currently, I'm at a level 5 team. Definitely trying to get to level 6. And eventually, your goal for yourself should be you are the owner of the company. You hire your own CEO, and you're just managing the numbers and making sure things are flowing. That's ideally where we want to be. All right, I'm only 4 minutes over. That's not too bad. We did start 5 minutes late. I wanted to see if you guys had any questions. Could you please put it into the chat box, and then we can answer your questions there. So Wilson had a question. Is your first hire the partner after the TC? No, not necessarily. Wilson, if you didn't hear my tone on that, I will go around having a partner unless you really, really need to. Partnerships are hard. Think about all the partnerships you have in your life, whether it's your tennis partner, your badminton partner, your life partner. I mean, it's not easy, right, to have a partner. So I would say be careful of you may not need a partner at all. I think your first hire actually, if you feel like you need a partner in the journey, then sure, hire the partner. Otherwise, your first hire should be your assistant after the TC. Very important. The assistant can help you make more money, most likely, and double your revenue at the least. So I would caution on partnerships. I have not seen a lot of partnerships work out in my career. Other questions?
So Alan, I have a question.
Yes. Good. Whoever that was, can you type it into the chat box because we can't hear you? Thank you. Lupita came in with a question. At what levels of sales did you hire your TC and your assistant? Yes, I probably waited a little bit too long. Whoever that is, can you please type it into the chat box? We can't hear you. I probably waited a little bit too long. Olivia, can you mute that person? Their quality is really bad. So let me answer the first question. When did you hire your first TC? I waited a little bit too long to hire my first TC. I would say if you're doing 12 deals, one a month, or around there, then you should definitely be hiring your first TC on that front. Maybe even sooner than that. But I would say as soon as you're realizing that you don't want to spend your time doing this paperwork and you have a good amount of revenue, I would hire that TC right away. But assistant-wise, I would be careful there. I mean, most assistants will run you anywhere from 50 to 100K. A good assistant will run you somewhere up in the upper realm. So make sure that you have enough, that you're making enough to fund that. I would say you should be making probably at least 150 to 200K GI before you bring on a full-time assistant. I did see a question about virtual assistant. Yes, I do have a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant is a great way to get started if you want to just test the waters. And perhaps this virtual assistant can help you streamline a lot of things before you bring on the full-time assistant. The virtual assistants are fairly economical. We can help. Just reach out to me if you want to know how to do this. But yeah, usually you can get them fairly economical. I mean, if you hire them directly, maybe $5 an hour, but maybe $10 an hour if you leverage a service. Definitely like the virtual assistant realm. It gets you started, getting used to working with assistant. It's also a contractor, so you don't have to worry about the issues of having somebody on salary. The other question Tam asked, to gain loyalty from the team, the other side rainmakers also must be reasonable. Do you think so? Yes. Other side. Do you mean the other side? You mean the people that are on the team? Okay. The Tam's question was, in order to have loyalty, it needs to be a two-way street. That's absolutely right. And that's something that we've been interviewing for a bit more, which is, will this person appreciate being on the team? And where are they coming from? That they would, why would they, that big why, right? What is the big why for this person being on the team? A lot of agents just want to join because they want to learn everything from you. Yeah, sure, we know why you want to join our team, but what do you bring to us, right? And what's the big why? And I really like it when people are honest and authentic about why. And I do like the people that have tried to do this on their own and they realize how difficult it is. Those are usually very good candidates for being on a team, because they know, oh gosh, it's not easy to lead generate. It's not easy to run a sustainable business. If I join Alan's team, I'll be, my upside's unlimited. It is stable. It's consistent. And those are the reasons why you want to. Those are good team members to have. The ones that have never been there before, never felt it. They'll be humble for the moment, but then once things get good, and they'll think they can do it on their own, which is fine. That's good. You do want good agents to do that, and that's power to them if they can. But going to be the issue there. The other question was, what do VAs do? So I just want to caution on the VA. Often the reason we like having a full-time assistant in-house is because we have a lot of things that physically need to be done in the office. Meaning, I've had times when I drove up right to the front door and my assistant handed me a listing presentation, I drove off. A virtual assistant can't do that. Or you need something prepped, a closing gift or something, and you just grab it on the way out, things like that. A virtual assistant can't do. But a virtual assistant can do a lot. If you think about it, they can run a CMA for you. They can grab disclosures for you. They can pull together an offer for you. If you train them via TC, they can TC for you. They can help. I saw something about command in here. If you don't have time to learn command, they can watch every video known to man and learn command, and then train you or port your contacts over. It's a lot of things that a virtual assistant can do for you. What's the best way to train your assistant on marketing? This is Amanda, thank you. Best way to train your assistant on marketing fundamentals and advanced techniques if they don't have a real estate background. Good question. I know Keller Williams has a class for, I think it's $150 a month, called the Perfect Real Estate Agent that they can join, which is kind of gives them some real estate background. If they don't have the marketing or the real estate background, then you're going to probably have to show them how you did it so that they can at least have a good starting point. And then after they learn how you do it, then perhaps they can find new ways to do it going forward. Thank you. I know of a good company. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and I do too, so you guys can reach out to me as well. KW Command Assistance. I do not. Check with Stacy to see what kind of KW Command Assistance we might have. I'm wondering if we could get maybe Locke or somebody in our office to help with this, but check with Stacy on that one. George, thank you. Another question. Buyer agent under team gets more split if it's his own lead source, or no matter what source, it's the same. The answer is it depends, George. It depends. As I was saying, for me, it goes by level. If you're just a newer agent, semi-new or mid-level, I would probably stick with the 50-50. But agents that are mid-level to more senior, you're going to see that if you don't sweeten the pot a little bit, they'll probably leave. So you have to be aware of that. Because remember, the reason these folks are on your team is because you're giving them leads, right? And you're bringing them. So your job as a rainmaker is to bring in the business, and their job is to close the business, right? That's the way that works. Now, if they're only bringing Wednesday, Tuesday, it's probably fine. But if they're starting to bring in a lot of leads, then you might want to be careful with that, because you might want to just take a quarter, take a little bit off the top. That way you retain them, because then they're going to eventually start asking, well, why am I on this team? If I'm bringing this leads, and I still have 50-50, they're going to start those questions. So it's fair to say, hey, you know what, just pay me a quarter and you can make 75. And I found most agents to find that very fair, a fair way to work. But you have to work it out with your agent. You got to figure that out. And also that 25% take, it's also incentivize them to lead gen also, right? If you don't do that, then they're like, what difference does it make if I host an open house? What difference does it make if I bring in a business? It doesn't really matter. You want them to have a little incentive to do that. Is there a certain number of team members you have found to be more productive? Thank you, Harvey, for the question. And then was there a time that you felt, yeah. I like to stay under 10, frankly. I think as it gets bigger than 10, it gets unmanageable. You can't have one-on-ones with everybody. Somebody doesn't feel the love. You don't know what's going on with folks. You don't have enough leads to hand everybody. That's another issue. So for me, I've always added agents when I know that the deal flow is just overflowing. We can't handle it. But I only lead with revenue. I don't just add them. I have done it once where I did bring on somebody on the bench, and it did work out pretty well, that the business actually did take over. But what I don't want is agents that don't have enough, that are not feeding them enough. That's a risk. This is a question. Thank you, Miko. If the seller house doesn't sell now, how do you convince them to sell after COVID-19? I mean, I would just prepare them that their house may not sell. If they're owner occupied, for sure, it's going to be really hard because you're only going to get subject to inspection. I would just sign a longer listing agreement, and I would tell them just to prepare. Hey, I'm going to go on for market for a little bit now. If we get traction, great. If not, let's take it off, rest it, and then we'll bring it back after COVID-19. I would have a two-pronged plan. That's what I would do. Yes, and Harvey, you're right. Having too many agents does become less productive. So it just depends on your deal flow. Right? I mean, I found that most of my buyers agents can handle about 5 hot buyers at one time, for example. So if their pipeline has about 10, meaning cold, warm, and then hot, with 3 to 5 hot, they're pretty full already. So if you're consistently handing each of them about 10, then you probably need to add somebody. That's the formula I've noticed. You might have people doing more or less. Rainmaker, George asked a question. Rainmaker brings 100% of the leads and the buyer agent doesn't need to lead gen. How do you motivate the buyer agent to lead gen? Just like I said, George, you implement the model I told you. For any lead they bring in, you only take a quarter instead of half. So they make 75%. So that's how you would motivate them. Yeah, no, the Rainmaker does not make 100%, by the way. So if it's a lead that you give them, then you split 50-50. Remember, the folks that have been solo, you guys know this, lead generating is the hardest thing to do. So depending on what kind of team you run, I mean, our team, we have hot leads that are just ready to close. So our team's pretty blessed. We have other teams that are just calling Zillow leads. That's another way to do it. They get really good at scripts, right? And then they hand those off. But remember, the Rainmaker's paying for those leads, right? The Zillow leads, they're paying for them. I don't like Zillow, and I'm not paying for Zillow leads, but I'm just telling you that's some ways that people do business. So they have other channels of getting business. And so they're taking care of that funnel while the agents are closing it. So that's that win-win, right? Because it is hard to bring in good business, good, well-qualified business. That's the hardest part of the business, actually. Closing is actually not that hard. You can train somebody to close. I've trained so many agents to close. That is not difficult. It's bringing in the business that's the hardest. I don't see any other questions on the chat. Okay, I have Lynn who's making a recommendation. Check with your business partners. They might have sources for you as well. Thank you, Arnold Schwarzenegger, for joining the call. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, everybody. Everybody be safe out there, okay? We'll talk to you soon, Davis.